In this lesson, we'll finish the setup of our flashlight. To finish it up, remember we're going to set up a switch so that our flashlight will drive our left arm if we so desire. So we need to select our left arm. With that selected, we go to its top group, and once we found it, we know that we need to do our parent constraint. So when we select our control for our flashlight, we now control click our left arm group, and you can easily apply what we're doing to the left to the right. I'm just going to set up the left since the flashlight is favoring the character's left side. But again, we select our control followed by the group that has our constraints, and we go to parent constraint. Great, so now another weight has been added, and from here we select our flashlight and add an attribute. We can, sorry about that, we actually need to edit the attribute of the hand so that it will follow the flashlight. So we go to follow, we right click, and we can go down to our attributes and go to edit attributes that way, or since it's getting cut off in the video, you can just simply go to modify and edit attribute. Once the control is selected, we go to follow, and notice we get to everything we can modify. So we want to go to the space underneath and just add a flashlight switch. So we'll just type in flashlight, hit enter, and close. Now that that's done, we already set up our weight, so we're ready to set up our set driven keys. With our arm control selected, we can go ahead and select follow once we've loaded it as the driven or driver. What's going to be the driven though is going to be that parent constraint, so we'll select that and load it up and select all of the weights. We're going to need to go through individually and just make sure that our weight is set to 0 prior to just before we get to setting up our flashlight. So with all of these things selected, we go to our follow, go to our parent constraint, even zero out the constraint for our flashlight, and we hit key selected. We go now to the next one. We can go to hat, key selected. We go to chest, key selected. Again, just updating everything for our flashlight. And now we get to the flashlight. Select that. Go ahead and turn off world and turn on the flashlight and hit key selected. So what do we have now? When we select our flashlight, notice it should control our hand. Wonderful, even if we rotate it. And when we switch the pivot, okay, so we switch it to the top, of course our hand's going to move, so we'll just need to accommodate that. But there is the setup of our flashlight. Now it's being influenced by the hand, or actually vice versa. And what you can also do is bring that right back to world, so we can bring the hand back to default. Great. So that is the setup of our flashlight. That finishes this lesson. So what do we have left to do? Well, that's the key, setting those up, seeing how we can do that for this rig. And we have our character sets to do before we pretty much just call this character rig done. So again, that is the end of this lesson, and in the next lesson we will get right to working on the setup of our keys.